Yo guys, we're back with another episode of Flawless Finance going live with the CEO. I think this is episode 19 now, so we're nearly 20 episodes into these live streams. And if you've not tuned in before, we talk about a wide range of topics, so anything from sports to business to politics to economics, basketball, boxing, you name it. We might even talk about it. Okay, so we're gonna kick it off and get things started with JJ Redick revealing his Lakers starting lineup for the 2024-2025 NBA season. Now, in terms of JJ Redick as a coach, of course, I think we're all well aware of the potential risk. You've getting a guy in to manage to be head coach for the Lakers who's never been a head coach before, but going off JJ Redick's performances as a player and the way he talks about the game in his podcast. He's clearly got a high basketball IQ and a lot of knowledge of the game. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a great coach, but I think it's definitely, a potential factor in, becoming a successful coach is how well do you actually know the game. And he seems to know the game pretty well. But we're going to go through his starting five lineup for the Lakers next season. And to be honest, there's not really any surprises here. It looks like it will be D'Angelo Russell at the point guard, Austin Reeves at the 2 guard, LeBron at the 3, Rui Hashimura at the 4, and then Anthony Davis as the centre. I mean, there's a bit of flexibility in that starting five where, at times you'll have LeBron as the point, D'Lo as the 2 guard, and Reeves at the 3, with the centre remaining the same. So you've got a bit of movement there, and of course we know LeBron, he'll be starting, he'll be a ball dominant player, so at times he'll be like a de facto point guard when on the court. Yeah, and JJ Redick, rightfully reminded us that this is the starting five that went 23-10 last year. So in terms of performances and getting results, was one of our better starting five combinations. But that also means that Redick's starting five leaves power forward Jared Vanderbilt, who dealt with multiple injuries last season and is questionable for the training camp. That leaves him on the bench, which doesn't really surprise me because, like we said, had multiple injuries last season, and when he did play, he wasn't amazing. I don't think he had a huge impact in terms of points return, but Vanderbilt is a big body and he is a good defender. But if Vanderbilt could return to the lineup, I imagine he would potentially take Rui Hashimura's starting spot as the power forward. But, I mean, we'll get a better idea when we see what Redick likes to prioritise. Because Vanderbilt, he's one of our best, defenders in the team. Then that leaves you with the likes of Gabe Vincent, who had a knee injury last season and played just 11 games for the Lakers. So not an amazing, return that we got in our first season, but he's only been here for a year. So he joined us last off-season. And if he can play, stay fit, and potentially return to some of the form we saw when he was in the Miami Heat, Gabe Vincent keyword could, be a very important factor to the Lakers, as his shooting and scoring, like we say in the league nowadays, you can't get enough of it. So if you've got a Gabe Vincent who can come in and be an offensive threat, then he's not got a place in the starting lineup, but he's definitely got a place as the 7th or 8th man off the bench for sure. But if we get the Gabe Vincent that we got last season that was out mostly due to injuries, and when he did play wasn't particularly efficient on the floor, didn't get a huge points return. If we get that Gabe Vincent, again, he like he did last season, he won't see much of the court. So we'll have to see for Gabe Vincent. And JJ Redick also mentioned that his team will have a focus on offensive rebounding, and that's just amazing to hear that, especially when that's where Davis has historically excelled. That's one of his best points of play. Where JJ Redick won't be starting some of the younger players, such as third-year guard Max Christie, and the player who the Lakers picked up in this past draft, Dalton Connect. But they will likely get some time off the bench. Um, Meanwhile, the 2023 first round pick, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who received limited time under Darvin Ham, could potentially see more minutes under Redick if Redick decides to prioritise his development. But at the same time, Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to have to earn that as well. Because last season he didn't play much, and when he did play, he was slightly underwhelming, and isn't who I would have picked at that slot in the 2023 draft. I would have picked Brandon Podziemski, who was available, but I'm not Rob Pelinka. But I would definitely like to do a mock draft for the Lakers. I mean, who would I take, and why would I take them, etc., etc., for next season. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it for the 2025 draft. That's not for a while. But yeah, it'd be super interested to know what you think of JJ Redick's Lakers starting five, and what do you think their record will be? Do you think they'll reach the playoffs, play in? Do you think they're contenders for a title? I wouldn't have thought so, but I'd be super curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so here we've got 6 best super fights we need to see in boxing. Okay. So we're starting off with Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Now this is a fight I've been looking forward to for so long. These two are 2 Russian undefeated light heavyweight world champions. Artur Beterbiev, who's IBF, WBC and WBO world champion, and Dmitry Bivol, who's WBA world champion. And they're set to fight on October the 12th. Stylistically, I love this fight. This is a story as old as time itself, where you've got the technical boxer in Bivol against the big power puncher in Beterbiev, and it's an interesting sort of dichotomy that the media, and sort of dichotomy and sort of narrative that the media sort of spun with this one, where you're kind of underplaying the others' sort of impact in their respective areas. So, for example, we're saying Dmitry Bivol's the technical one, but Dmitry Bivol can bang as well. He's not got no power in his hands. Like we saw, he managed to keep Canelo off. Canelo can take a shot, by the way. He managed to keep Canelo off him, and he's got a handful of other knockout victories in his career. He's not a lights out puncher by any means, but again, it's not necessarily being about a knockout puncher, but it's about, do you have the power, the thunder in your fist to keep your opponent honest? And to be honest, I think Dmitry Bivol's got that. He's unbeaten at light heavyweight, and we've never seen anyone really just walk through Dmitry Bivol's punches. No, he's not knocked out all of his opponents, but like I said, guys aren't walking through his punches. And then you've got Artur Beterbiev, the guy who is a phenom in terms of knocking guys out. A huge sort of power puncher, to be honest. A big puncher who gets guys out of there very quickly and doesn't get paid for overtime. But then when we say, this is a technical boxer versus a power puncher, it makes it sound like Beterbiev isn't technically as proficient. But believe me, Artur Beterbiev is more than proficient in the technical sides of boxing. And to be honest, to the untrained eye, I can understand them just saying, wow, this guy's a big puncher, wow, we've got to watch him. But no, there's so much nuance in Artur Beterbiev's boxing, which that allows you to get the knockouts. It's the hunting for the openings, and when you get those openings, yeah, he's a huge puncher, and he'll make you pay. But yeah, both have got super high IQs, and for the stylistic, battle alone, it is why I'd love to see this fight, and we're gonna see it in Saudi Arabia on October 12th. Of course, I think this fight was booked for earlier on in the year, but I think there was injuries involved. It would be very interesting to see who wins this fight, because depending on who wins the fight, the next opponent could potentially be Canelo. So Beterbiev versus Canelo would be a must-see match for me, and then Bivol v Canelo 2 would be a really interesting fight to see as well. So Would be interesting, definitely. I think my head wants to say Bivol could win this. My head wants to say Bivol could win this, but I'm gonna go Beterbiev. I think Artur Beterbiev is gonna win his fourth world title and unify the division. But yeah, I'd be super curious to know what you guys think. Who do you think is gonna win out of Beterbiev and Bivol? And for the winner, what do you think is next for them? I'd be super curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Cool. And next we've got Tyson Fury versus Usyk 2. Another super interesting one. You know, Usyk, of course, won the first fight in, not, I wouldn't say particularly dominating fashion, but it was convincing. It was a convincing win where at the end I'm thinking, yeah, Usyk's won that. I've not got any complaints, not saying it's a robbery. It was close, definitely a competitive fight. You know, it wasn't a shutout. And it certainly wasn't like Alexander Usyk. It wasn't like Tyson Fury had no answers for Usyk. Tyson Fury was very competitive in that fight. And I think when you get a fight like this and when you get a result like this from Usyk, the first instinct is to be on to guys like Tyson. Oh, he's out of shape. Oh, he didn't take it seriously. No, I mean, could it be? It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that Usyk, a two-weight world champion, multi-time Olympian. Oh no, I don't know if multi-time Olympian, but an Olympic medalist. I'm sure he won a gold medal with the Olympics. Undisputed at cruiserweight, undefeated heavyweight champion. It could just be that he's better than Tyson Fury. I know there's a lot of Tyson Fury fanboys out there that, you know, aren't going to like me saying that, but in that fight, Usyk was better than Fury, and Usyk deserved to win that fight. Now, that being said, if there was a rematch, Tyson Fury is more than capable of putting together a performance over 12 rounds that could beat Usyk. I think he is. In terms of him as a boxer, he's capable of doing that. Because it's not, like I said, it's not like he got smoked by Usyk. It's not like he got touched in the first round and he got knocked out. It was a 12-round competitive fight, which Usyk won more rounds than Fury did in the first fight, and that's, you know, as simple as it is. But like I was saying, you know, Fury makes some changes, has some changes in his tactics, you know, turns up a bit more, maybe turns up in a bit better shape. Tyson Fury is capable of putting together, like I said, a 12-round performance that could beat Usyk. But again, if those two were to rematch and Usyk wins again, just like the Anthony Joshua fight, I'm not gonna say it ends your career. If you've lost to a guy in Usyk twice, who's now unified the heavyweight division and is unbeaten, you're not getting a third fight. And what else are you gonna fight for? Because he's got all the belts. Maybe you can have one or two big money fight, again, like an Anthony Joshua fight. A Fury v Joshua fight would be huge in the UK, but that would literally be their last big fight, I would say, because let's say they have a Tyson Fury v Anthony Joshua, and let's say Tyson Fury wins. What's he gonna rematch Usyk for the third time and lose? Same thing for Joshua. Let's say Joshua wins. What's he gonna do? Rematch Usyk for the third time and lose? You know. But I'd be super curious to know what you guys think of a potential Tyson Fury v Alexander Usyk rematch. Do you think Tyson Fury could put together that performance, or do you think it's going to be same old from Alexander Usyk and he's just going to, you know, win that fight again? Be super curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know. And next we've got Canelo Alvarez v Terence Crawford. Now, a super interesting one for me. My instinct is always to go with Canelo in these types of fights, just because Canelo is so much bigger than Terence Crawford. I understand the interest in the fight 100%. Again, a fight I'd love to see. You know, fights like this don't really get made anymore. You know, it's a fight that truly, at its core, is to determine who is the number one in the world. Who is the number one boxer? That's what is to determine, because you've got, you know, Terence Crawford, a guy who's undefeated, undisputed at a couple weight classes. Canelo, who's won world titles at so many weight classes. Both guys who are, you know, in many ways last of a dying breed in terms of what they represent in boxing. a guy in Terence Crawford who, for the longest time, was really slept on, really an up and comer. He's been great since day one. From the start of his career, he's been knocking guys out, catching bodies, and then you could say the same for Canelo as well. Canelo's doing it at a bigger weight class and has moved up more. He's fought all the way at light heavyweight and won championships there. But that's what gives Canelo the edge for me. A guy who's realistically at this point, he's a natural super middleweight. I mean, in his prime was a natural middleweight. And I say in his prime, not saying Canelo's out of his prime now. He's still a hell of a boxer, and in my opinion, number one, maybe he's top 3 pound for pound, 1 or 2 for me. If you're putting, Usyk, I'm putting Usyk, Canelo, and Crawford as my top 3 pound for pound. But but then maybe I'm putting Terence Crawford number 1 pound for pound because he's, yeah. But yeah, let's not get into that. But yeah, I think it would be a great fight. I think Terence Crawford, I don't know if he can take the power of a guy like Canelo. Because Canelo's probably fought punches as big as Crawford, to be honest. Crawford's a huge puncher. He is a welterweight, though. So even his crazy power at welterweight probably translates like the same as a regular middleweight, super middleweight type boxer. And you've got Canelo who went, however long he went with Kovalev, quite a big puncher at light heavyweight, and was able to take that for the most part and, even show the resilience enough to win a world title at light heavyweight. Because I'm thinking, if you're going to beat Canelo, you need to be able to keep him honest and hit him hard enough to keep him off the front foot, and you're going to need to be able to eat his shots as well. Because if you can't eat Canelo's shots, he's coming and he's cooking you. I don't know if a welterweight Terence Crawford can take light heavyweight Canelo Alvarez's power. So Canelo Alvarez when I see Alvarez v Crawford, but might mind me sitting on the fence. But either result wouldn't surprise me in that outcome at all. So I'd be super curious to know what you guys think of that fight. Do you think Canelo could beat Crawford, or do you think Crawford would beat Canelo?
Hey guys, we're back with another episode of my live stream series, Live with the CEO, episode 4. Let's get straight into it. We streamed it earlier today, talked about Adrian Broner a bit. But yeah, let's get into it. We're looking at Anthony Joshua urging Alex Pereira to switch to boxing. Now this is an interesting one. Obviously, we're seeing Alex Pereira come into the sport of MMA. And into the UFC and start doing amazing things, wins the middleweight belt, loses it to Adesanya, but then moves up to light heavyweight, wins the belt there.
What is going on?
This guy's absolutely speed ran the UFC, becoming the first.
There we are. That's the issue. Okay, let's go back. We still going? We still live here? Yeah, we still going. We still live in a bit. Okay. And then next we've got Gervonta Davis v Shakur Stevenson. Another really interesting one. Shakur Stevenson he's a hell of a boxer. He's really slept on though because he's not a big puncher. And this is again a tale as old as time itself, where you've got a smaller boxer who's technically brilliant, defensively solid, super quick as well, can pick his punches really well and put together combinations like no one I've seen in a while at his weight divisions in terms of speed as well. The speed is crazy on Shakur Stevenson, but he's not knocking guys out. So you've got Gervonta Davis, who technically may not be one of the best boxers, but he's a smaller guy who's really made his name off of sleeping fools, putting dudes to sleep and sending them to the shadow realm. That's what Gervonta Davis does. That's what he's been doing. But a fight against Gervonta Davis would be career defining and would be someone that's like for this generation, for this division's generation, the 130, 135, that generation, these are like the top end American talents at that weight division currently. And you've got Gervonta Tank Davis, who's carved a successful path through the ranks at 130 when he started, 135, and even 140. And it also means that, and it also just happens that nowadays he's fighting at lightweight, which would be the same weight as Shakur Davis. Shakur Stevenson even, not Shakur Davis. But Gervonta Davis, he's experienced the pay-per-view spotlight a few times now, and in Gervonta Davis, one of his career-defining fights, he knocked out Ryan Garcia in 7 rounds, which was, hey, was a really big performance for Gervonta Davis, and that was it, you know. We even had Shakur Stevenson saying that, oh no, not Shakur Stevenson, one of Gervonta Davis's trainers saying that he doesn't think Gervonta Davis will win. He's saying Tank is faster, bigger, stronger, and smarter. So, really interesting takes from Gervonta Davis's camp there, that they think that Tank would dog walk Shakur Stevenson. I could see it, but if Stevenson can take that punch from Gervonta Davis, which not many have been able to, in all honesty, then of course he's got a chance, but it's always going to be a hard fight. But yeah, be super curious to know what you guys think of that fight, Gervonta Davis v Shakur Stevenson. Let me know what you guys think. But that's it from me. How long have we been going for? Yeah, that's long enough. Okie doke, that's been enough for me. I'm out. Take care and peace.